What if the force that has shaped human relationships for thousands of years suddenly disappeared?
Nothing looks different at first. The cities still move, and people still meet.
Friendship would remain. Emotional bonds would remain. But one powerful human impulse would be missing.
Dating would change completely. There would be no hidden signals, no instinct to pursue a romantic partner.
Dating apps might never have existed. Instead, humans could have built entirely different ways to find companionship.
But then humanity faces a far bigger question. Without sexual attraction, how would future generation by generation, something strange would happen. Humanity would slowly stop replacing itself.
The planet wouldn't necessarily become chaotic. It might become something quieter, older, and increasingly empty.
But here's the surprising part. Love might not disappear. Friendship, family, loyalty, and human connection could still survive.
Humanity would have another option. Technology could separate reproduction from sexual attraction entirely.
Having children could become a deliberate decision, planned, technological, and completely independent of attraction.
Marriage might survive, but perhaps not as romance. It could become a partnership built entirely around trust and companionship.
Families would probably evolve too, less centered on couples, and more centered on cooperation, friendship, and care.
Even beauty and fashion could change. Appearance might become expression, not a signal designed to attract a partner.
And the internet could have evolved in a completely different direction, built around communities, interests, and human connection.
Entire industries would transform. Some could shrink dramatically, while entirely new markets would rise to replace them. Advertising would change too. Without attraction as a powerful instinct, marketers would need entirely different ways to capture attention. Art wouldn't disappear, but centuries of stories inspired by romance and attraction might be replaced by completely different obsessions. Music might sound different too. Songs built around romance could give way to stories about friendship, identity, exploration, and...
Look at how the cells divide.
For the first generation raised in this world, this way of life would feel completely ordinary. Perhaps humanity wouldn't become less loving. Perhaps we'd simply learn to define love in a completely...
Without sexual attraction, would people still want children?
The answer might depend entirely on how much humans value parenthood itself.
Parenthood could become less instinctive and far more deliberate, requiring people to consciously choose the responsibility.
If fewer people choose parenthood, the consequences could become enormous. Humanity might face a population crisis. Cities might not collapse. They could simply shrink, leaving behind enormous spaces for nature, research, and the people. Humanity is remarkably adaptable. Even without sexual attraction, civilization might survive and evolve into something. Once attraction disappears, reproduction itself could become a purely technological process. Artificial reproduction could become one of civilization's most important technologies, if science could make it safe and reliable. But if technology controls reproduction, a disturbing question appears. Who gets to decide who is born? Yet reproduction by technology creates another challenge, preserving the genetic diversity that makes humanity resilient. If technology began shaping our future, the natural course of evolution could change dramatically or even slow down. A shrinking population wouldn't just change families. It could completely reshape the global economy.
Schools might become smaller and smaller. Eventually, some could disappear entirely or be transformed into something.
If romantic attraction vanished, friendship might become one of the most important forces holding society together. Human beings could still feel lonely. But without romantic partnership, society would need new answers to one ancient problem, the need. Eventually, society might build a new social contract, one based less on couples and more on communities. One tiny change in the brain could rewrite thousands of years of Remove one powerful instinct, and human motivation might not disappear,
it could simply find somewhere else to go. With fewer people competing for resources, humanity might redirect enormous amounts of energy toward one goal, escaping Earth. Centuries later, the descendants of this strange civilization could live on other worlds without ever understanding what humanity once felt.
They would study our past the way we study ancient civilizations, wondering why attraction once mattered so much.
And perhaps the strangest part is this: they wouldn't feel like something was missing. They would simply know no other world. Over thousands of generations, even the brain itself could evolve differently, shaped by a completely different set of pressures.
Culture wouldn't disappear. It would simply grow around different human desires: creativity, discovery, belonging.
Would humanity become more peaceful? Perhaps in some ways. But ambition, fear, and because sexual attraction is only part of human nature. Greed, ambition, fear, and the hunger for power could still remain. Some forms of heartbreak might vanish too. No romantic rejection, no breakup, no longing for someone.
Jealousy wouldn't disappear.
Humans could still compare themselves, compete for status, attention, money, and power. Jealousy wouldn't disappear. Humans could still compare themselves, compete for status, attention, money, and power. Remove romantic competition, and humans would still compete. We'd simply find new arenas in which to prove ourselves. So would humanity be less happy? Maybe not. Happiness has never come from just one source. Generations later, the customs of the distant past would seem almost impossible to imagine. Remove one human instinct at the beginning of history, and almost every century afterward could unfold differently. Entire chapters of human culture might never be written, because the emotions that inspired them never existed. Stories would still make us laugh and cry. They might simply celebrate different kinds of love. Partnership wouldn't disappear. It might simply become what many people already value most: trust, companionship. After centuries, cities might evolve around communities rather than couples, turning human connection into the foundation of urban life. The family tree could become something radically different, less about couples and more about networks of care.
With fewer children to support, societies might invest more resources into keeping people healthy and living longer.
A smaller human population could also give ecosystems something they rarely get: time and space to recover. But every advantage would come with a price. A smaller humanity could also mean a quieter, lonelier civilization.
Humans might still long for something, just not necessarily for romance, for people and memories, for places.
If romance disappeared, something else would fill the space: friendship, discovery, creativity, ambition. Or with attraction gone, humanity might redirect enormous amounts of time and energy towards science, technology, and survival.
Perhaps one day, a simple photograph of two people in love would become one of the strangest artifacts in human history. They could study it, analyze it, debate it, but they would never truly understand what it felt like. So would humanity actually be better? There may be no simple answer. We might gain quieter cities, healthier ecosystems, different cultures, and perhaps an extraordinary push toward, but we might lose something too. Countless stories, traditions, emotions, and experiences that shape human civilization is an equation of countless forces. Remove just one, and every other variable changes. And that leaves us with the question: would we still recognize ourselves if one of our oldest instincts had never existed? They wouldn't mourn the world we lost, because they would never know it existed. If one of our oldest instincts disappeared, would we still be human? Or would humanity become something entirely new? Thousands of years later, they might look back at us the way we look back at ancient civilizations, with curiosity, not nostalgia. Two worlds, two versions of humanity, neither perfect, neither inevitable.
Maybe the real question isn't what humanity would become without sexual attraction, but how, over many generations, a radically different environment could influence how the human brain develops and adapts. The brain might redirect its reward system toward achievement, discovery, friendship, and the endless search for something new. Because attraction isn't the only reason humans seek each other. The need to connect may be far deeper than that. Marriage might not disappear, but without sexual attraction, its purpose could change completely. And perhaps the biggest social change would be this. The couple might no longer be the basic building block of
Family might no longer mean two parents and children. It could mean an entire community choosing to care for one another.
As birth rates collapse, children could become rare, and every generation would become smaller than the one before it. Humanity could become dramatically older. Experience would increase, but younger generations would become increasingly rare. With fewer workers supporting more elderly people, automation would become essential to keeping civilization running. When humans become scarce, machines could take over more of the work of teaching, caring, and raising the next generation. Eventually, humanity could become a rare species on its own planet, surrounded by cities built for millions. As humanity becomes smaller, nature could reclaim enormous parts of the planet, and wildlife could return to places. Some megacities might become strangely quiet, with enormous buildings serving populations far smaller.
And as generations disappear, preserving humanity's memories could become as important as preserving humanity itself.
And perhaps the biggest question isn't what we'd lose, but what kind of humanity would emerge in its place. Even without attraction, humans would still need connection. We might simply build it in completely different ways. Eventually, humanity might spread across the solar system, and perhaps far beyond it. Millions of years could pass. Civilizations could change beyond recognition. And the original human... Maybe being human isn't defined by one instinct. Maybe it's defined by everything we become beyond it. What if humanity had never felt sexual attraction? Perhaps we'd be different, but we'd still be human. And the first generation wouldn't notice anything unusual. To them, this would simply be normal human life. The strange part wouldn't be losing attraction. It would be never developing the instinct in the first place. No one would feel deprived. You can't miss an emotion you've never experienced.
Eventually, a world without attraction wouldn't feel strange at all. It would simply feel normal.
Love wouldn't disappear. Its meaning might simply become broader than romance ever allowed us to imagine.
Dating would never become an institution. People would meet through interests, friendship, work, and shared experiences instead.
Romantic rivalry might vanish, but competition itself would remain, because humans have always competed for much more. The planet might become quieter too, less crowded, less pressured, and surrounded by more space. With fewer people competing for resources, humanity might invest more heavily in solving problems that threaten its distant future. Whatever happened next, one thing would remain true. The future of humanity would never be completely predictable. Without sexual attraction, reproduction could collapse, slowly transforming humanity from a growing species into a shrinking one.
Schools would become quieter, playgrounds emptier, and every child could become more valuable to society.
With fewer children, societies might invest far more time, money, and attention into every new generation.
As workers become rarer, machines could take over more jobs, and automation could become essential to civilization. With fewer people, cities wouldn't necessarily disappear. They could shrink, merge, and transform into something greener. Nature has reclaimed what we once took. Here, city and wild coexist in perfect harmony.
We must prioritize the oceanic thermal models,
Agreed, the transition is vital.
By the early 21st century, human density had reached its peak. Then came the Great Transition. Today,
We preserve our collective memory. Every moment, from thousands of years, this is the story of us.
And that leaves the strangest possibility of all. Perhaps removing attraction wouldn't change humanity's story. It would.
A civilization without romance wouldn't necessarily be empty. It could be built around completely different forms of connection. Friendship could become the strongest long-term bond humans build, and perhaps the foundation of entire communities.
Humans might even create new ceremonies, celebrating loyalty, friendship, and lifelong commitment instead of romance.
Some forms of jealousy might disappear, but human conflict wouldn't, because competition has many causes.
Some masterpieces would never exist. But entirely new forms of art could emerge from emotion.
Music wouldn't disappear. Humans would simply find different emotions to turn into sound.
Remove one instinct, and another may become even stronger. The ancient human desire to explore the unknown. Humanity might become smaller in number, yet larger in ambition, reaching farther into the universe. Over thousands of years, one missing instinct could become just another step in humanity's extraordinary evolution. Future humans might reproduce through laboratories, making biology less dependent on human attraction.
Parenthood could survive too. It might simply become a deliberate choice, separated completely from romance.
Having children could become less spontaneous.
And more like a conscious decision made for the future.
Our current resources cannot sustain this growth.
We must act now. Reproduction could become a major political decision, because this vast infrastructure operates flawlessly. But the civilization that built it is shrinking. Humans are now its rarest. Here, the world's finest minds unite. They are solving civilization's greatest challenges. They are writing the next chapter of human history. But a tiny population has a weakness. One major crisis could threaten the entire species. A smaller humanity could be more efficient, more advanced, and far more vulnerable to extinction. Without attraction, humanity wouldn't simply adapt. It would have to consciously decide how it wanted to survive. Eventually, humanity would face a choice: accept decline or deliberately design its own future. On Earth, the final generations might live quietly, knowing their species has become smaller than ever.
Each child would carry an enormous responsibility. The future of a civilization that could no longer take survival for granted.
If humanity became too small to survive safely on one planet, the stars could become its insurance policy. Eventually, a smaller humanity could become a scattered humanity, living across worlds instead of one. Given enough time, even the strangest human civilization could become something completely Perhaps future humans would remember us, but only as the ancestors of a civilization they barely recognized.
Eventually, sexual attraction might become nothing more than a strange chapter in an ancient psychology textbook.
Whatever humanity becomes, every future still begins with this small blue world we call home. So what if humans never felt sexual attraction? Maybe we'd lose part of ourselves, or discover an entirely different humanity. Maybe the deepest question isn't what we'd lose, but who we'd become without it.
It wouldn't necessarily be a worse humanity. It would simply be a humanity built around different instincts.
One missing instinct could have rewritten our entire story, but the universe would remain just as vast.
Perhaps the strangest thing isn't imagining a world without attraction, but realizing how much of ours was shaped by